February 2011. A computer programmer in Austin, Texas, is about to change the internet forever. His name is Ross Ulbricht. He's 26 years old, libertarian, idealistic, and he believes the government has no right to tell people what they can or cannot put in their bodies. He's building something that's never existed before, a hidden marketplace where anyone can buy or sell anything with complete anonymity. No banks, no governments, no rules. He calls it Silk Road, and within 2 years, it will become the Amazon of illegal drugs, generating over $1 billion in sales. This is the story of how one man built a digital empire in the shadows of the internet, and how the FBI spent years hunting him down. Before Silk Road, buying drugs meant meeting sketchy dealers in parking lots or dark alleys. It was dangerous, unpredictable, and you never really knew what you were getting. Ross Ulbricht wanted to change that. He envisioned a free market where buyers and sellers could connect safely, review products, and conduct business without violence or coercion. To make this vision real, he needed 3 technologies that had just become available. The first was Tor, short for the Onion Router. Tor is software that hides your internet activity by bouncing your connection through multiple servers around the world. It makes you virtually untraceable. The second technology was Bitcoin, a digital currency that exists outside the traditional banking system. Bitcoin transactions are recorded on a public ledger, but the identities behind the transactions are hidden. Perfect for anonymous commerce. The third piece was encryption. Strong encryption that could protect communications between buyers and sellers from prying eyes. In January 2011, Ross begins coding. He works alone in his apartment, writing thousands of lines of code. He's creating more than just a website. He's building an entire ecosystem, a reputation system where buyers can rate sellers, an escrow service to hold payments until products arrive, customer service forums, vendor pages with detailed product descriptions and reviews. By February 2011, Silk Road goes live. At first, there are only a handful of listings: magic mushrooms, LSD, a few strains of marijuana. Ross uses the username Dread Pirate Roberts, taken from the movie The Princess Bride. It's a character who passes the identity from one person to another, always maintaining the legend. The name is deliberate. Ross wants people to believe that Dread Pirate Roberts could be anyone, anywhere. He wants the myth to be bigger than the man. The early days are slow, a few transactions here and there. But word spreads quickly in online forums. People start talking about this hidden marketplace where you can buy drugs as easily as ordering books from Amazon. Reviews start appearing: 5 stars for fast shipping, 4 stars for product quality. Vendors realize they can make serious money here. More sellers join, more products appear. Cannabis, cocaine, MDMA, prescription pills, heroin. The selection grows. By the end of 2011, Silk Road has hundreds of users. By mid-2012, it has thousands. And the money starts flowing. Bitcoin transactions worth millions of dollars. Ross takes a commission on every sale, usually around 8 to 15%. The profits are staggering, and Ross is getting rich. But running Silk Road isn't easy. Ross works around the clock. He's the administrator, the customer service rep, the tech support, and the forum moderator all at once. He mediates disputes between buyers and sellers. He upgrades the site's security. He writes manifestos about freedom and liberty. He truly believes he's creating something revolutionary, a marketplace free from government control, a place where adults can make their own choices without interference. To Ross, Silk Road isn't about drugs, it's about freedom. By 2012, Silk Road is no longer a secret. Articles start appearing in tech blogs. Then mainstream media picks up the story. Gawker publishes a detailed piece titled "The Underground Website Where You Can Buy Any Drug Imaginable." The article goes viral. Suddenly, everyone knows about Silk Road. Traffic explodes. Tens of thousands of new users flood the site. Sales skyrocket. And law enforcement takes notice. The FBI opens an investigation. So does the DEA, so does Homeland Security. Its servers are hidden. There are no physical locations to raid, no bank accounts to freeze. Traditional investigative techniques don't work here. The FBI needs a new approach. In Chicago, an IRS agent named Gary Alford starts analyzing Bitcoin transactions. He's looking for patterns, large amounts of Bitcoin flowing into certain wallets, transactions that might link back to Silk Road. It's tedious work. The blockchain is public, but figuring out who owns which wallet is nearly impossible. Still, Alford keeps digging. In Baltimore, DEA agent Carl Force creates an undercover identity. He registers on Silk Road as a buyer, then as a seller. He wants to get close to Dread Pirate Roberts. He starts sending messages, asking questions, building trust. In New York, FBI agent Chris Tarbell takes a different approach. He's not trying to trace Bitcoin or go undercover. He's hunting for mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes eventually. Even the most careful criminals slip up. Tarbell is betting that Dread Pirate Roberts will too. And he's right. In early 2013, investigators catch their first break. Someone posted about Silk Road on a forum months before the site launched. The post was promoting the new marketplace and asking for feedback. The username on that post wasn't Dread Pirate Roberts, it was a regular username. And investigators traced that username back to a simple question posted on another forum. The question was asking for coding help, and the person who posted it used their real email address. The email address contains a real name, Ross Ulbricht. Suddenly, the FBI has a suspect. They start digging into Ross's life. He's a former Eagle Scout, physics degree from the University of Texas, master's degree from Penn State. Smart, clean record, no history of drug dealing. On the surface, he looks like a regular guy, but investigators find something interesting. His social media posts reveal libertarian political views, anti-government sentiments, philosophical writings about freedom and autonomy. It matches the ideology of Dread Pirate Roberts. The FBI gets a warrant to monitor Ross's internet activity. They watch him carefully. But he's cautious. He never accesses Silk Road from his home computer. He always uses public Wi-Fi at coffee shops and libraries. He's careful not to leave digital fingerprints. Bar. Mid-2013, Silk Road is massive. Over 100,000 users, thousands of vendors, more than 1 million transactions. Sales exceed $1.2 billion. Ross is making a fortune. His personal Bitcoin stash is worth tens of millions of dollars. But the pressure is building. Law enforcement is closing in, and Ross is becoming paranoid. He starts to believe that people are trying to steal from him, that rivals are planning to take over Silk Road, that employees might betray him. Then something dark happens. Ross receives a message from a Silk Road user. The user claims to have information about a Silk Road employee who is stealing from the site. Ross wants the thief dealt with, permanently. According to later court documents, Ross arranges for the employee to be killed. He pays $80,000 in Bitcoin for the hit. Investigators later discover this was part of an elaborate scam. The supposed employee didn't exist. The hitman was fake, but Ross believed it was real, and he paid for murder. This isn't the only time. Court records show that Ross allegedly ordered multiple hits on people he perceived as threats. He was willing to kill to protect Silk Road. The idealistic programmer, who started this as a libertarian experiment, had become something else entirely. Power had corrupted him, and he was now willing to do anything to maintain control. By September 2013, the FBI has enough evidence. They know Ross Ulbricht is Dread Pirate Roberts. They know where he lives. They know his routines, but they still have a problem. They need to catch him while he's logged into Silk Road. If they arrest him at home and he has time to shut down his laptop, the encryption will lock him out forever. They'll have the man, but not the evidence. They need him logged in. They need his laptop open and unlocked. Agent Chris Tarbell devises a plan. The FBI will arrest Ross in a public place while he's actively working on Silk Road. They'll create a distraction to keep his attention on the screen. Then they'll grab him before he can close the laptop. It has to be perfectly timed. One mistake and the evidence disappears. October 1st, 2013. San Francisco Public Library. Ross walks in with his laptop and sits at a table in the science fiction section. Appropriate given that he named himself after a character from The Princess Bride. He opens his laptop, logs into Silk Road as Dread Pirate Roberts. He starts working, answering messages, monitoring the site. He has no idea that FBI agents are watching him. They're dressed as library patrons, sitting at nearby tables, reading books, waiting for the signal. A young woman approaches Ross's table. She pretends to be angry with her boyfriend. She starts a loud argument right next to Ross. He looks up from his screen, distracted. That's the signal. Two agents move in fast. One grabs Ross, the other grabs the laptop before he can close it. They have him, and they have the evidence. Ross Ulbricht, Dread Pirate Roberts, is under arrest. Within hours, the FBI shuts down Silk Road. The homepage now displays a seizure notice. This hidden site has been seized by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Users panic. Vendors scramble to cover their tracks. Bitcoin values drop. The dark web is in chaos, the biggest illegal market place in internet history is gone. But the impact of Silk Road doesn't end with Ross's arrest. Ross's trial begins in January 2015. The prosecution presents overwhelming evidence. Chat logs where Ross discusses running Silk Road, financial records showing millions in Bitcoin profits, testimony from undercover agents who communicated with Dread Pirate Roberts, evidence of the murder-for-hire plots. Ross's defense argues that he created Silk Road, but handed it off to others, that someone else became Dread Pirate Roberts, that Ross was a scapegoat. The jury doesn't buy it. In February 2015, Ross Ulbricht is found guilty on all counts: money laundering, computer hacking, conspiracy to traffic narcotics. In May 2015, he's sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He's 29 years old. He will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Many people believe the sentence is too harsh. Supporters argue that Ross never physically sold drugs himself, that he simply created a platform, that life in prison is excessive for a non-violent crime. Others argue he enabled the sale of dangerous drugs that ruined lives, that he ordered murders, that he deserved everything he got. But here's what's undeniable. Silk Road changed everything. Before Ross Ulbricht, most people didn't know the dark web existed. They didn't know about Tor or Bitcoin or anonymous marketplaces. Ross proved that it was possible to create an online empire completely hidden from law enforcement. And even though Silk Road is gone, the idea survived. Within weeks of Silk Road's shutdown, new markets appeared. Silk Road 2.0, Agora, Alpha Bay, Dream Market. Each one bigger than the last, each one learning from Ross's mistakes. The dark web drug trade didn't disappear when Ross went to prison. It exploded. Today, there are dozens of marketplaces operating right now, selling drugs, weapons, stolen data, and counterfeit goods. Billions of dollars in transactions every year. Law enforcement shuts down one site, and 3 more appear. It's a game of whack-a-mole that never ends. OSS Ulbricht sits in a maximum security prison in Arizona. He maintains his innocence on the murder-for-hire charges. He writes blog posts about criminal justice reform. He has supporters who campaign for his release. They argue he was a political prisoner, that his real crime was challenging government authority. Others see him as a cautionary tale, a smart kid who thought he could outsmart the system and paid the ultimate price. The hunt for Dread Pirate Roberts took years, multiple agencies, hundreds of investigators, millions of dollars. And in the end, it came down to one mistake. A single forum post with a real email address. One slip in operational security. That's all it took to unravel the entire empire. The story of Silk Road is a story about technology and freedom, about the limits of government control in a digital age, about how the internet creates spaces where traditional laws don't apply, and about how even in those spaces, eventually everyone gets caught. Ross Ulbricht believed he was creating a revolution, a free market utopia. Instead, he became a cautionary tale, the dark web's most wanted drug dealer king, hunted down, captured, and locked away forever. But the dark web he helped create is still out there, growing, evolving, and law enforcement is still hunting. Somewhere right now, someone is running a marketplace just like Silk Road. They think they're smarter than Ross. They think they won't make the same mistakes. They believe they can stay hidden forever. They're probably wrong. Because the FBI is still watching, still learning, still hunting, and eventually, everyone slips up. The dark web is a digital Wild West, and the hunt never ends.